So, welcome to episode 115 of the Campus Comics Cast, and it is time for previews. I am joined on this episode by
Mike Atchison
and Chad Schubert.
We are going to march through the previews catalogs for November of 2021 for items that are generally shipping in January of 2022. Can't believe I'm saying 2022 already. And of course, if something sounds interesting to you, be sure to contact Mike No at Muddy Monster Comics. Muddy Monster Comics is located at 1422 Walnut Street in Murphysboro, Illinois. Store hours are Tuesday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And of course, if you missed out on picking up a copy of the Big Muddy Monster comic book, Mike does have a few issues left. So be sure to stop in at the shop, pick one up before they're gone. So I guess without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into DC. And the first thing I'm going to say is that if you're looking at the DC catalog, you better be a Batman or a Bat Family fan, because there's not a whole lot of other stuff in this catalog. It's like they're completely ignoring the rest of their line and just focusing in on Batman. So
sure does.
And then I think on the last previews, Shad had mentioned that it looked like there was like a month and a half of solicits in here, and also a lot of things in this catalog are resolicits from last time. So there will be several things to point out there. But I guess the first thing, jump into page 1. We've got Batman One Dark Knight. Now this is issue 2, and it surprises me that they're putting a issue number 2 as their big book or spotlight book for this month. Yeah. But it is by Jock. So, and I don't remember this being solicited last time, so maybe this is a bi-monthly book. So I guess I don't want you to forget about it. But I will say, though, if you look at the inside front cover, it says Batman on page 1, but it talks about the Chip Zdarsky book, which is actually on page 2. So I'm wondering if this went to print, they reversed these pages or something like that. So
maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I don't know. Anything else to say about Batman One Dark Knight number 2?
Only that I don't remember this being in any previous DC Connect.
I did order it. I do remember it because I did order it because I was excited. I like Jock's stuff, and I don't think I had read anything that he had actually written before. So I'd like his artwork, and so I don't know if this is I'm sure he's written something in the past, but maybe not for any of the big ones.
I don't know if he's written, anything published. You know, it'd be interesting to find out, and kind of as I'm going to kind of go through here and see if I can find anything that maybe where he did something as a writer. But page 2, we've got from Chip Zdarsky, Batman the Knight. This is going to be a 10-issue series, and of course Zdarsky's best known for stuff like his work on Daredevil and the Spider-Man life stories. I'm trying to remember what his big indie book was. He's had a few, but the one that really kind of was still like he was Stillwater, right?
Cannot remember.
Okay,
I'm looking it up at the moment.
Oh, you're looking it up. All right. So anyway, this is going to kind of cover the timeline, I guess, between the death of Bruce's parents and like year 0. So kind of that where he's in this whole training. So I feel like it's going to be like Rocky theme music the entire time, or a training montage. But
I was curious how young they're going to go, because I think it would be interesting to get, can we go all the way to when the moment happened and go beyond? Because you don't see a lot or any real actually story driven on a serious tone of young Bruce Wayne. You kind of get him in training mode and when he's ready to become that, but we're schoolboy post that traumatic incident. That would be interesting.
I guess they left that to the Gotham TV show, so
yeah, that's true.
But we don't need to talk about that show either. So. It jumped the shark for me. So go ahead, Mike.
It's an impressive creative team. Zdarsky and this Carmine Giandomenico I have to practice my Italian. But I love his art. I don't remember what he's been on before, but I definitely like his art. And Zdarsky's really impressed me with Justice League Last Ride. It's a 6-issue series. I think we're on issue 4 right now, but I've loved it. So it's neat seeing Zdarsky do some of the DC characters.
Sex Criminals was the big Zdarsky.
Well, that was Fraction also, right?
Yes,
Yeah, that was the two of them. Okay. All right, now
that's what I was thinking of, at least.
Okay, I'm going back to Jock, and according to I'm on the Grand Comic Books database, and there is a credit for a script for Mark Simpson, but it says as Jock. So I don't know if Mark Simpson is Jock's real name. So apparently he's written at least maybe one issue of 100 Bullets.
Okay.
So he does at least have some writing credits. And then there was that's like maybe like there was like another one here, Jock Blood, Sweat and Tears from the DC Comics art of Lee Bermejo, but I don't know, that's just an article or something that he wrote. So it's just a text article. So it's not actually even a comic story. So
gotcha.
There's a little bit of stuff here and there.
It's pretty good when your big bust out as a Batman title. So
that's true. So all right, moving on. Page 4, we have an issue that was solicited last time.
Yes.
Batman 119. So I guess if you missed it last time, then you're still got time to get in an order for Batman 119. And we do have this. You know what? I just noticed this. Up at the top of the page, it says previously solicited in DC Connect number 17.
I didn't see that before either.
Yeah. So they did put that on the next page for Detective Comics 1049, because I'm pretty sure that was in the last DC Connects as well. But
yeah, they look familiar for sure.
Yeah, definitely the art, because that's the Mariko. No, that's not whose art is that? I forget. Not final cover. That's not Dan Mora. Is that? Let's see.
Is it the Irvin Rodriguez?
I don't know.
Well, 119's Jorge Molina.
No, Detective Comics 1049.
That's Irvin Rodriguez.
Okay.
I believe it doesn't say it on this page, but
no.
He's been doing those painted covers for this. Like if you look at Detective 1050, it says cover by Irvin Rodriguez.
Okay, is that the? Okay, that's the same. Yeah, it's definitely the same artist. Because I think the 1048 was like a Harley cover or something, right?
Right.
Yeah. I remember.
And I'll buy these. I've made up my mind. I'll buy them for the covers alone. I'm not normally that guy, but I love these.
But you're going to be that guy.
That's right.
Okay. Page 6, I think we definitely got to talk about. So they got what they're calling a big anniversary issue for Detective. It's just 1050, but there's not a whole lot of books that are at this point. So I guess it is a pretty big book number. To me, the big news in this one is that Mark Waid is returning back to the DCU with a Batman story. So that's going to be pretty interesting. I guess he's going to do a World's Finest story here. And then he's going to have that with artist Dan Mora. So, Mike, I figure this is something that you would be super interested to pick up.
Yeah, especially if it means Wade's coming back to do an ongoing World's Finest book or something like that. A one-off will be nice, but it'll just leave us wanting more.
Right. Well, I wouldn't call it a grand return if he's only going to do one, small story, in one book. Hopefully it's going to be a little bit more to that than just a single story.
It almost sounds like it's spinning off into something else, because it says this issue features a primer tale for Waid and Mora's epic upcoming DCU series. Like maybe they're not going to take over Detective, but they're going to get their own ongoing or their own mini or maxi.
Yeah, I think like a World's Finest.
Yeah, I was gonna say what Mike was. Yeah, that was World's Finest. So yeah, because they do
those are titles of comics that are they are evergreen. Those those whether it be you could throw the the title of Amazing Fantasy or Action Comics or Detective
Oh,
or
yeah.
World's Finest, and people are going to go, oh, that hits me right in the nostalgia bone. I'll pick that up.
Well, World's Finest definitely of that list that you gave probably has the the biggest. Well, I don't know, maybe not. It definitely is bigger than Amazing Fantasy, because Amazing Fantasy only is known for issue number 15. It's not really known for anything else. So
That's true. I'll send Wade a text and see what's up.
There you go. Once you find out,
Okay.
since you are the podcast celebrity now. So.
To get his attention, all I have to do is say something really controversial on Twitter, and he'll jump all over it.
Well, page 8, we have a book, and I swear that this book has to have been solicited at least 2 other times.
I agree.
Yeah, we had the Batman Catwoman special, number 1, written by Tom King and others. And I am sure that this book it feels like it's 6 months to a year ago that we saw this. So maybe it's finally going to make its way out. So,
well, it says in the second paragraph, it starts off with now expanded to celebrate the legendary legacy of iconic artist John Paul Leon. So is it reissued, or maybe they have shelved it all this time and then they added more stuff to it? The now expanded is a little odd.
True.
Yeah, that's a good question. And maybe what happened is it didn't get finished before he passed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't remember seeing this book on any shelf or on any order form. So I'm thinking that this is the first time that it's actually theoretically going to hit the shelves. But I'm looking to see if there's a copy available for sale on eBay right now.
There you go.
And there does not. Oh, wait a minute. What is this? No, pre-order. So it's all pre-sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what they need to do?
What do they need to do?
They need to have a Batwoman Catman special.
I do not disagree with that.
That'd be awesome.
That would be cool, man. Seriously. I mean, Catman's one of my favorite characters. And it it would be just enough of a novelty that people pick it up.
Yes.
And put Gail Simone on as the writer.
All right, my next thing's on page 12. What do you guys got? All right, well, somebody talk about
anything past there, yeah. Go ahead.
All right, well, we got Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes, issue number 1. So Brian Michael Bendis is back on Legion of Superheroes. I did finally, 2 days ago, finish his 12-issue run of Legion of Superheroes. I got through issue 9 and just stopped for some reason. And I did like that a lot, so I am kind of interested to see what they do here. It is a 6-issue series, so gives them a little bit of time. And of course, Naomi's going to be in the book. So Justice League versus Legion of Superheroes. And I think we talked about this before, but if you're watching Young Justice, the Legion of Superheroes has a presence in season 4 of Young Justice. So just as an FYI, hopefully that's not too spoilery.
Yeah. Well, his run on the Legion was fine, but 12 issues to handle plot and storyline and then character development for a team that has over 30 members is just not going to work out.
It feels like more than 300 members.
Yeah, it's huge. They've got and they're all new. I mean, they're new interpretations of old characters, except there are some new ones like Gold Lantern, which is featured prominently in the center of this cover. He was first revealed to us in the Bendis Legion storyline, and they had a Dr. Fate and a few other inheritors of 20th century or 21st century heroes. So I thought I really enjoyed his take on some of the Legions, the Legion members, the Legionnaires. I just would like to see it be an ongoing and really have, just develop the story. This six issues will be just another kind of a spurt of information. It might be a good story, but we'll need more again.
Well, we can tell half the story right now. So Justice League goes into the future. There's a misunderstanding. Justice League and Legion of Superheroes fight. Justice League and Legion of Superheroes realize they shouldn't be fighting. They should be fighting somebody else. And then they come together and beat the bad guy. So there you go.
Man, you had the inside track on that. Are you a fan of Scott Godlewski's art?
I don't even know who that is. So
I've seen his stuff. It's okay. It's just not my favorite.
I mean, this is his cover art.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's way better than I can do. That's for sure.
He's doing art and cover, but
I don't dislike it. So
I'm trying to think who it reminds me of. Who did some of the Super Sun stuff? Was that?
I don't know. I didn't read
Patrick Gleason, maybe. Might have been Patrick Gleason. Maybe that's what he's reminding me of.
Anyway, I have my Patrick Gleason Amazing Spider-Man webhead shirt on right now.
Oh, nice.
All right, you have to talk about number 14, Mike. Page 14.
Okay, but before we do, speaking of Super Sons, you have Robin and Superman and Robin special. So now, I guess Jonathan Kent has now, because he's the Superman of Metropolis in that ongoing series, he's now grown up and he's a man. But poor Damian, he's still Robin. So I'm sure that with Tomasi's writing, I thought Tomasi did a great job in the original Super Sons when they were both 8 or so years old. He had a great voice for that age, and so it'd be interesting how Damian, of course, Damian probably still considers himself to be the dominant character, So, yeah. But anyway, what do you got here? You say,
well, going back to Superman and Robin, I always thought what was going to happen was that to age him up, that he would have stayed with the Legion a lot longer, and then came back to where he left. And just at that point, been several years older than Robin comparatively. Did they not?
That's
make
not
that
the story.
official?
That's not the storyline that did that. The reason he aged up was because he went off with his grandpa, Jor-El, under the. I think it was written by Dan Jurgens at the time. Jor-El turned out to be alive, and he was sort of an anti-hero. And he took him under his wing in their timeline or whatever, in light years away, was a longer period of time, and Jonathan actually aged. But then, when he got back to Earth, everybody else had only aged months, not years.
Okay. All right, page 14. Peacemaker disturbing the peace, number 1. Now, I personally do not care for this version of the Peacemaker. It seems a little bit over the top to me. That being said, Garth Ennis is probably the perfect writer for that version of the character.
Yeah.
So if you like the Peacemaker that you're getting in the Suicide Squad movie, and will almost certainly get in the HBO Max TV show, then this is going to be the one shot for you. Mike, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, I think that they took the path that they took, which was to make him sort of a what's the word, douchey. He's so defending of peace that he's willing to do whatever, and he's illogical and goofy. I enjoyed him in the movie, but I don't know how much I would enjoy him in a continuous series or even in the comics if he kept up that motif or that that characterization. But I mean, I'll pick this up for sure. Garth Ennis, you're right. He's the perfect writer for this. Irreverent. He's on record as saying he doesn't even really like writing about superheroes. He thinks they're silly, so I think that's why he writes them the way he does. So,
well, I know
interesting.
People go on and on about his Punisher run, and I read that, and I just thought that was nonsensical. So I just did not care for it all. The covers were awesome, but but the insides, no.
Very not. He's dark humor, definitely black humor, you might say. Next page is Batman the Detective. Have you guys been picking that up by Tom Taylor?
I have not.
I picked up 1 or 2 issues that are in my, just in case that random character that showed up for the first time gets hot, but I haven't read a
Mhm.
single one of them.
I read the first issue and then I got sidetracked and I'm behind. But what I liked or what I read, I liked. So I'll probably start it over and read the entire. I believe it's a 6-issue series.
Not
Doesn't
for sure.
say here, but I thought it was a limited series.
22, 5. Yeah, it probably has to be 6 for it to be 160 pages.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so here you get the hardcover. Just get it all in one shot.
Yeah.
My next thing's not till 35.
I've just got on 20. They're doing the first volume of Nice House on the Lake. I started reading it when it first came out, picked up the first couple issues. A little slow moving, but it seems like it picked up some steam as it went on. So this would be a good chance to revisit and see that, which I may do. It's got I hadn't seen really the horror element in that moment, and it's this horror hit, and it just seemed like it was leading up to a weird mystery in just another post-apocalyptic type scenario, but it might have ended up a little bit better. So I think it's a 12 issue total. So this is the first half of the series, if I'm not mistaken. And that's all I've got in this book.
Oh, okay. Mike, you got anything else for 35?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I just want to throw out there that on page 35, we got the Fourth World box set by Kirby, $120. They're soft cover versions of I guess it's usually traditionally 4 volumes. Going from Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen through Mr. Miracle and Forever People and New Gods and what am I missing? Like I'm missing one or two, but they're listed here. Let's see. New Gods, Forever People, Mr. Girl, Superman's pal. Oh, I know, I got them all. Okay,
You won.
I won.
You did.
Hey.
I was trying to think, but
So anyway, so if you've not read that, it's a little wordy and a little weird. Not for everybody, but I enjoy it. So if you're wondering where Darkseid came from and you haven't read about it before, there's your chance. So, all right, ready for the Marvel catalog?
Sure.
I made the mistake of not going to get the catalog till today.
Oh.
And Previews World this morning was down. Their website was down.
No.
Website was down. Fortunately, I was able to get it on Comixology. So I did track down the catalog. So page 1, though, we have a crossover title. We have I'm going to call this the 10 Deaths of Wolverine.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, that crosses over with the 10 Lives of Wolverine, just playing off of, because you had the House of X and Powers of 10. So I'm assuming that they're playing off of this. Now on what page is this? Page 2, on the cover they have for 10 Lives of Wolverine. There are 10 Wolverines pictured.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't know if there's one behind the little variant cover in that corner. So I don't know if I'm going to buy these, but Wolverine fans, should be put on notice. And there's a cool Mark Bagley with variant cover of Wolverine, his original costume. So
yes, yeah, I think nothing else. I really just like seeing all the different versions of Wolverine throughout the years. I'm curious to see what they do with that. Are we going to see them all at once, or is it going to be kind of individual stories that tell the different deaths of Wolverine, or how they're going to handle that?
I do like how they put in the title where, it kind of has that flip. You see the 10 Deaths of Wolverine, and then flipped underneath it, you got 10 Lives of.
Yeah.
And then, but I think, going back to what you're asking, I think they're going to show these as individual little pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they're going to cross over that, and they'll be in at the same time. So
and they'll connect them all into their own version of the green door, but it'll be like the yellow door.
Could be. Who knows? No, I don't think they'll. But if they introduce Gamma into the process of him getting his claws, then I don't know. Maybe they can.
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So what we should do is on page 6, where they have this cover for issue number 2 of the 10 Deaths of Wolverine, where it says classified. we should place bets about who this is that's classified. So, but I don't know. My bet is Eureka, but what do I know? And then if you are a Devil's Reign, the Devil's Reign continues. So Daredevil fans, there's a lot of the Marvel catalog that's taken up with Devil's Reign. We haven't seen the first issue yet, so not a whole lot that we really can say about it. So, you got anything to say about Devil's Reign?
Not yet.
Okay. Now on page 11, this kind of piqued my interest. We have Daredevil Woman Without Fear, 3-issue series from Chip Zdarsky. So Chip Zdarsky is all over the place. He's in DC, he's in Marvel, and I'm sure he's in the Indies as well. Of course, the title is a play on the Miller Romita Jr. book from quite a while back, Daredevil Man Without Fear, and just, of course, the title of the character. But Marvel is definitely leaning into Elektra right now with this title starting, and last month they had the Elektra Black, White, and Blood 4-issue series that started last month. So we've got 2 miniseries, plus I assume that she's still going to be showing up in Daredevil periodically. So really leaning into Elektra right now. Anything else to say about Elektra? Nope. All right. Page 13, Ben Reilly Spider-Man, 5-issue series. What caught my eye here was the writer, J.M. DeMatteis. Yeah.
I had that flagged as well, but my iPad is just spooling here, trying to pull up the image. And I'll let you talk about it.
Well, of course, the reason why this part piqued my interest was because he is the writer. He wrote Kraven's Last Hunt, which is one of the iconic Spider-Man stories. Now, this, of course, is about Ben Reilly, a clone of Spider-Man. So to me, I feel like that gives J.M. DeMatteis a little bit of freedom to go a little bit crazier, maybe, with this story than what he could if it were Peter Parker. So 5-issue series. Definitely something to take a look at, and I didn't realize this, but apparently Ben Reilly has been actually Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man books here recently. And there's a note here on page 18. Yeah, 18 with Amazing Spider-Man number 87 that Peter Parker might be stepping back into to being Spider-Man again. So yeah, I haven't been keeping up with Spider-Man. But with the changes and this Beyond storyline, just really didn't really catch my eye. But I don't know, maybe I should have paid a little bit more attention. I do really like this variant cover on page 17 though by Miguel Mercado, where this is Ben Reilly sewing his costume, and then you have the girlfriend behind Ben Reilly sewing up his arm. So it's like there's this double dip, sewing of of cuts and tears. Let's see. My next thing's on 20. So.
Yep. Same.
All right. Go ahead.
It's just we're starting a new story of She-Hulk, number 1. It looks like the only thing I'm interested in is this going to lead into, I know they're not always on the same page, but with a reboot of She-Hulk, are we also going to be heading into some more announcements about the Disney show for She-Hulk that's coming in 2022? That much we know, so we could potentially see this tagging along as a way to market for one another. But it looks interesting. Looks like just another restart of She-Hulk, right? Last time we saw her was in Immortal She-Hulk. Was that the last?
She's been in Avengers as well.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. So it's nice that they're actually going to have a She-Hulk book on the shelves whenever the series is out. So finally, they're not waiting until after the fact or after the show's over to put a She-Hulk book on the shelf. But the other thing is they're going to have to address, because the last that I read of She-Hulk, she was still in her, brutish form, and now they're going back to the more traditional, like John Byrne style of She-Hulk, where she has the full intelligence, at least the appearance of full intelligence in these with these covers. So it'll be interesting to see. Sometime between now and this book coming out, they're going to have to be sure that they address how she gets back to being quote unquote normal, I guess.
Yeah, because it looks like she's going to be practicing law again and everything as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because they got the whole justice thing in the little blurb in the upper left hand corner and all that tough stuff. Yeah. So, what page is this? Page 22. We have, I guess, the final chapter of Peter David's Maestro trilogy. So fans of Peter David's run on the Incredible Hulk and, of course, Future Imperfect, and, of course, the character Maestro will want to pick up Maestro World War M, which is a 5-issue series.
Have either of you read the Maestro stuff at all?
Other than Future Imperfect, I have not.
The character looked interesting, but I wasn't sure.
Dan always talked about it.
Oh, okay.
Now, something I'm kind of excited for here on page 24 is Silver Surfer Rebirth, 5-issue series, written or created by the Rons. We have Ron Mars and Ron Lim. Now, Ron Mars does not get the credit for Silver Surfer, because he kind of followed after Jim Starlin's writing run, which kind of led into the whole Infinity Gauntlet thing. But Ron Lim was the artist at that time, and he continued in through part of Ron Mars's run as well. So it's a story. You've got Silver Surfer, you've got Ron Lim art, you've got an Infinity Gem. Looks like you've got a chance to bring back Captain Marvel. It looks like Legacy, which is I guess like the son of or somehow related to Captain Marvel, is going to show up in this book as well. So, and Galactus. So could be interesting. But the Ron Lim art is something that it's got me jazzed.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
My next thing's 28. Nope.
I'm good. Yep.
All right. So just Silk is getting a new book. Start with a new #1, written by Emily Kim, art by Takeshi Miyazawa. I'm not familiar with either of their work, but there is a powerful new villain. And of course, with talk at Sony of Silk getting their own movie, that is something that a person should consider picking up. And then I don't have anything else in Marvel, so
I did, but I'm unable to pull up my copy. So,
well, would you like me to start reading off titles and you can tell me what it was?
Can you just share your screen? Share your screen and scroll down through every page.
I don't know. Fantastic Four, Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Was it a trade? Was it a?
I had some, but no big deal.
All right. Well, if it pops back up, just let us know. We can always
go back.
Track to it. So yeah. Okay. So all right. So we're done with the big two already.
I've got one. I've got one on 66 is a new Star Wars show, a new Star Wars series called The Halcyon Legacy, which is a story that's going to be centered around the new hotel that they are opening up, that they just started taking reservations for. So that's this big galactic cruiser ship, and it will follow kind of some history of that, tying in the High Republic type storylines that they're currently doing and going all the way through. I don't know if this story will go all the way through, but where the hotel storyline picks up will be in the kind of between Last Jedi and the Skywalker. What was I don't remember the last one. Between episode 8 and 9.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank at the moment. So it evidently, this galactic cruiser has been around for quite a lot of years, and this will be kind of the comic book story that ties it in, kind of like they did with the Galaxy's Edge. Yeah, miniseries that they did. So I'm excited for that. Seems like it'd be pretty cool, especially since I don't know if I'll be going to that hotel anytime soon, considering it's like $2,000 for a 2-day stay.
Wow. Yeah, that's pricey. Do they take cash?
Right. So they'll take whatever, as long as it's money, they'll take it.
Exactly. As long as All right. Big book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, if you want to follow along with us, pick up your own copy of previews. There's a whole lot more that we don't talk about than we do talk about, and orders are due approximately November 18th. So you get a couple of days leeway after that, but but not a whole lot of extra time. So don't delay too much on getting those orders in. And I also want to point out that once again they have lots and lots of advertisements for Bags and Boards. And I promise not to say anything about the Bags and Boards ads after this point. So
we had a lot of people say they wish they'd stop talking about Bags and Boards online. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not, but 34. Anybody got anything for 34?
Nope.
All right, so this is a title that I did not aware that there was a previous title for, but it's Aerosmith Behind Enemy Lines. Aerosmith, ARROW,
not the band.
Not the band Aerosmith. So, but the thing that's interesting, this written by Kurt Busiek. So this is another universe by Kurt Busiek that he has Astro City in addition to this. So there's a new 6-issue story set in this. It's almost like a steampunk / I don't know, World War One looking type of a book. It's kind of hard to say. Oh yeah, it's World War One. Okay, but it's wizards and dragons instead of as much as bullets and barbed wire. Mm-hmm. So there you go. So if that sounds interesting to you, be sure and pick that up. And later on page, what page is it? 58. They actually resolicit the first volume of just the Aerosmith story. So if you wanted to go through and find out what took place before this, well, you could get both of those in a single month.
So, that's right.
My next thing's at 42.
I got on 38. There's a new book called, what is it called? Rain. My sticky notes were covering it. And this is Joe Hill's Rain, evidently, which is it's being adapted from a novella that Joe Hill had done in the collection called Strange Weather. And it's about this town that all of a sudden it starts raining splinters of crystal and impaling people. And it looks like it's the first book being advertised under this new Generation Image banner, which is just, I guess, some creators that they are calling the new generation of Image. But I find it funny because they've looped in a couple of books we'll see throughout that are on like their 6th issue, but all of a sudden are now Generation Image books.
Well, I felt like it was kind of like what was it? Marvel does they're not hot Stormbreakers.
Oh yeah, Stormbreakers. Yes,
I feel like it's the same thing as the Stormbreakers for Marvel.
Agreed.
This Generation Image. It's just there's kind of point out some of the quote unquote new talent, though a lot of them have been around for a long time. So. All right, page 42, probably the biggest book of the month, almost certainly without a doubt, is we have the return of Saga. So Saga issue number 55. This is one of the most popular books in comics, written by Brian K. Vaughan. I do think it's interesting. I just noticed this, that they gave Fiona Staples first and then Brian K. Vaughan as the writer second. Usually that's written the other way. So I thought that was interesting.
They figured that they made it the first half of it one way, and they agreed that they would flip-flop it for the second half.
Did they really?
I don't know. No, I just made that up.
I guess maybe Brian K. Vaughan figures he's getting enough press. Maybe he doesn't need any more. So, but this is going to be an oversized book and still going to be regular price of $2.99. And it is coming out on January 27th. I don't know if this actually, it says midnight release on the 26th. Oh, okay. So I don't know if that means going into. So anyway, the 26th, 27th, this book will be coming out. Now, I personally couldn't get into Saga, but I read the first maybe 2 volumes, and I just didn't do it for me. But I know a lot of people love this book. I actually expected when this came back out that they were going to say, be sure to be here for the last 10, 15, 20 issues, how much longer they were going to go with this run. Because I don't think there's going to be a, indefinite run on this book. I think there's probably an end in sight, but they don't say anything about, how many issues they're planning on doing. So
they keep calling it the halfway point is what I've seen in multiple articles. So I don't know if we're looking at exactly half, like is it 110 or 100, but somewhere around there it appears that we're on the downward slope.
Yeah. Mike, have you been reading Saga?
Sorry, I had myself muted. I read the first 2 volumes, and then I moved on to Paper Girls, and now I haven't finished about 2 or 3 different series by Vaughn. I enjoyed it, and I'll probably reread it all again.
Mm-hmm.
I had this flag to talk about as well. I think that it's probably the story of the month for previews. It's definitely the story of the month for me because I can't get previews. Like you said earlier, previews world is their site is down. And
It's
what I
still
had
down, huh?
spooled,
Okay.
I had the whole document on my iPad last night, but when I guess it only was, buffering so much at a time. So I'm just this is going to be the Scott and Shad show.
Okay.
I'll be the live studio audience and or maybe the Ed McMahon and say you are correct.
All right. Well, we'll just prompt you for your opinion. So
There you
all
go.
right. So
Yeah.
okay. So Shad, you got me, who doesn't really care so much for Saga. Mike, who is sort of so on Saga. What's your take on Saga?
So I feel like the overall Campus Comics cast landing is that we've all read the first 2 volumes and that's it.
Okay. All right.
I started to I was losing my attention on volume 2. I'm not giving up on it, but that was the last thing I read, and I felt like it diverted a little bit from the volume 1 was really solid, and volume 2 was a little bit more world building again, and I feel like it lost me. So I too will reread it before I get back into it. I'll start at 1. I've read volume 1 I think 3 times now because I'm like, oh, I should get back into that, and then I'll start again, and then I'll get a little bit further and be like, oh, I should get into that. So I dig it for sure, but I think that there's a lot of building, and so I got to pay a lot of attention.
I think my favorite character in the book is the lying cat that can tell when people are lying.
Oh, okay.
He's that mercenary's cat pet, whatever. It's a big cat.
Yeah.
Its main purpose is to tell him when someone's lying.
Well, I don't even remember that character, so that tells you how long it's been since I've read it. So let's see. So anyway, if you were a Saga fan, you
it's happening.
Get that on. Yeah, it's happening finally. So my next thing's not till 85.
Okay, I got 44. We've got another Generation Image book. It's called Bolero, and I'm not familiar with either of the creators, Wyatt Kennedy or Luna Vecchio, but I just like the concept. It was essentially you got the mother key of the universes, all the multiverse, and but there's a set of rules that you have to follow in order to, like, when you get the key, you've got to make sure that it does work on any door, but you can only visit 53 universes randomly. You cannot speak to the mother, and you can never hop more than 53 times, and that's bound to not work for somebody. But I like the concept of it was a what if scenario. That's you're sitting around with a bunch of people and you're like, what if you got this, but you had to do these certain things? And so seems like they're just applying some random rules to something, and I thought it was a neat little concept.
I think they missed their chance because it's 56 pages and it should be 53 pages.
You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then on 43 is the other Generation Image book, which is called Monkey Meat, which sounds gross.
48.
But yeah, 48. Sorry. Yeah. And this is the creator. It's the writer and the artist is Juni Ba. And they did a book called, I don't even know how to say it, but DJELIYA is the name of it. And it was it's a book I from TKO Studios, and it's something I was really wanting to read. And I was like, oh snap, they've got an image book now. So I really want to check out that original book. I'm gonna have to pick it up.
I'm gonna go with Jalea.
I think Jalea is how to pronounce that book.
That's if I had to put money on it, that's what I would go with.
It's like I know it's a book of like African like tales that they've done, kind of in another anthology type sort. So I want to check that out, and then definitely pick this up when it comes out if I enjoy that book.
I looked at this and it just looks so weird. Looks so weird to me.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you are into weird, this probably is something that you should check out. So
The first page is like, do you like 99% real ape meat? And you'll love this, or something stupid like that.
yeah,
So
nourishing,
yeah.
tasty.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bunch of tales set on the same island in an anthology type way. So seems weird enough that it might be interesting. And what did you say you were on next?
85.
Okay, I'm good.
Oh, you don't have anything for 85?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to mention Stray Dogs Dog Days #2. This is the second of that 2-issue series. We mentioned issue 1 in the last previews, and of course, and I believe in our next episode, we're actually going to talk about the first 5-issue story for Stray Dogs. So just kind of throwing that out there as well. So don't forget the teaser, right, for the next episode of the Campus Comics Cast. All right. 90 is my next thing.
All right.
From Dark Horse, we have Apache Delivery Service. And anytime Matt Kent attaches his name to something, I just feel like it's going to be well written. So here we basically have ghost stories. I think that are kind of set in Vietnam. So it definitely looks interesting. I am going to pick this up for sure, and even Previews likes it because they give it a gem of the month.
They even like it. I thought that it seemed like from what they list, there's a lot going on in this story. There's a lot of different plot devices between witches and a bizarre serial killer and ghosts and caves, and I was like, holy cow, it's a 4-issue mini and they're gonna cover this much. And
Yep.
what's gonna happen? So it could be an exciting 4 issues.
Yep. And Matt Kent's stuff now is starting to get recognized by publishers or producers. So I know
Okay.
Department H has gotten picked up by a studio. So if that is successful, then his other work will probably start getting picked up for shows as well. So then I don't have anything to 194.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
On 94, there's Hellboy and the BPRD 1957 Falling Sky. It's a long title. I don't do a lot of Hellboy, but I like the one shots. That's typically when I go in because I feel like there's such a long history of Hellboy, and to just hop onto series. So this one shot is Hellboy with cryptids. Essentially, it's just they're investigating mysterious creatures in the woods, and it looks like it's pointing towards, is it a Sasquatch, is it whatever it may be in West Virginia,
is it a big buddy monster?
That's right. So that's the kind of Hellboy stories I like, because I like the character, but it's just like, man, there's a lot in there. I don't know if I like him that much. So when you can give me a really short story like that, I like to pick it up and visit the character every once in a while. Then on 104 is Adora and the Distance, which is done by Mark Bernardin, is the writer on that. And this was a Comixology book originally, and I've read about half of it. I actually picked it. I started reading it last night because I was like, oh, I want to read that. This was, I guess they're on those Comixology originals, they give an option to print later on in life. So that's it coming out. But Mark Bernardin does a show called Fat Man Beyond with Kevin Smith, and that's where I knew his name from. But he's since written a lot of TV and has done some comics as well. And I've enjoyed his comics that he's done in the past. And this one's been pretty good so far. It's a story of a young girl who has these powers and has to battle the distance. And it's a story that he wrote for his daughter, who I believe has Down syndrome, and kind of in honor of her. And so this is a pretty cool book so far. Like I said, I'm about halfway through it.
Page 106, I didn't actually have this marked initially, but there's an In the Flood. This is another one of those original in digital. That is print. It just kind of has a neat look to it. It's one of those where it looks like it's basically just done in black, white, and then blue, which I guess would seem appropriate for In the Flood, but talking about an apocalyptic rainfall, written by Ray Fox, and art by Ray Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a disturbing, surreal graphic novel. But it does look kind of interesting. I'm trying to feel like maybe I read part of this on Comixology. I know I read something with rain. I can't remember if this is this or not. So anyway.
I tend to like his stuff, so I that might be one to pick up. On 111, there is Hamlet, a Shakespearean mashup, which is pigs doing Hamlet. So if you're into Shakespeare and puns,
bacon.
Yes, puns, bacon, and Shakespeare, Hamlet might be the one for you. I do like a lot of Shakespeare stuff, so that might be something I'll pick up for $10.99 and get a funny little thing there. I don't have anything till 182.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Let's see if Mike knows anything about this character. I have never ever heard of the character Pantha before, and apparently this is like her first book in like 10 years. But this is a character, and of course, with it being Dynamite, you kind of know what they're going for with a lot of their books. So Mike, have you ever heard of this character before? And you're muted.
I was practicing.
Good. Okay. Hopefully, got the bad take out, and now time for the good take.
There was a Panther in the New Teen Titans book, and it was pretty late in that run. I don't think she lasted very long, and I don't think it's the same character, but that's the only Panther I have heard about.
But I mean, it's alongside Vampirella and Red Sonja, and so it's they're going for a certain.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say they're going for a certain cheesecake factor, with a lot of their titles. So I didn't know if this was like one of those 50s or 60s characters that
no,
maybe
not that I know
gone
of,
into the public domain or okay.
All right. I was really bummed out because the cover on the cover A, that Judy Zhang's cover, I really liked that artwork. It was kind of a little bit of an anime kind of style, but was really well done. And then I saw the inside artwork a couple pages later, and I was like, oh, this is just the same as everything else. They're tricking. I think they're tricking the people who stay away from Dynamite books by giving you a decent looking cover. And
it's like I don't know, Dynamite's books are getting to the point where they're kind of like the Zenoscope books.
Yes, they are absolutely.
Yeah, that is just not for me. So, but then Dynamite will occasionally get a good title, like they have James Bond now. So it's it's okay. It's just so weird.
Yeah.
All right, I still don't have anything to 194. So.
Oh, okay. 182 is Cursed Pirate Girl, The Devil's Cave #1. Boom is doing this. It's the original creator artist. If you like Cursed Pirate Girl, which I've read a little bit of and have enjoyed, a lot of busy artwork, but it's cool. It's good in small doses. So I think I read part of the trade of the original run and I got distracted, but the one shot, like annual, I really enjoyed because it was a lot smaller. So I think that this is a good series to consume in small doses, such as issues. So yeah, Cursed Pirate Girl is returning.
Okay, 186. I did not plan to mention this, and I normally don't talk about anything from the Buffyverse. But there is a new Angel series, and the writer on that is Christopher Cantwell, who, of course, did the Doctor Doom series, is currently doing the Iron Man series. I don't know if he could make or Angel interesting or not, but if you're a big Cantwell fan, then this would be something to pick up. Or if you are an Angel fan and are looking for a good writer on Angel, then this is going to be your big opportunity. This is like when they got Christopher Priest to do Vampirella. So, to me, it's right up there with that. So,
What'd you
All
say
right.
you were at?
194.
All right, how about it?
Okay, so now something is killing the children.
Mm.
I think it's overhyped. That being said, Boom has a special edition where they give you a 5-pack of Something is Killing the Children, issues 1 through 5. And in this pack, they have 5 different David Mack covers. I do like David Mack's artwork. So if you were wishing you had Something that's Killing the Children in individual issues, now you can get them with David Mack covers, and they are pretty good. So
I think later on there's a section that's like, do you know David Mack? And
there is.
And I was thinking, well, that's interesting because he's probably one of the most iconic covers that like you can spot a David Mack from a mile away.
I'm flipping past Once and Future Volume 4. I need to get back to that. I stopped at Volume 2. I liked it, just not as much as Volume 1. So I do need to get back to that book though.
Gotcha.
214 is my next thing.
All right, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, so the book that I keep saying I need to start is ending. So from Abstract Studios, we have Serial issue number 10, which is the final issue for Zoe, the child serial killer. So I have no reason not to start this now that I know that the last issue will be out soon. So I'm going to get right on that soon. And then 220 is my next thing.
All right, you're good still.
Okay, all right, so Bylines in Blood. This is from Aftershock. I'm not familiar with any of the creators. Erica Schultz, Van Jensen, Anika is the artist, but the concept is we're X number of years into the future. The very concept of truth has died. Politicians create their own facts. There are no longer independent newspapers. Private detectives are Ronin searching for the truth. So it sounds a little too close to today, but it makes it out to be as if it's going to be an ongoing series. But I do think it sounds interesting. So they advertise it as mystery, noir, and sci-fi. And apparently in the future, everybody's still going to wear masks.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And I think that's it for me for side 1. So
okay.
What else you got?
I've got on 252. AWA is got a new book called The Fourth Man, which just by looking at the cover, it's kind of like what's going on there because the inflatable tube man in a used parking lot is bloody, and it's kind of written in the same like it looks like The Last Boy Scout, the movie with like Damon Wayans and Adam Sandler, maybe I can't remember the movie from
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, yeah.
Bruce Willis, yep. Whoa! How do you use Bruce Willis and Adam Sandler? That's
disturbing.
Was it Damon Wayans at least? Did I get that right?
I don't remember. You go on. I'll look it up.
But the cover was really interesting all on its own. But it's essentially these mysteries that are going through, or these mystery murders that are happening in this town, and it's all coming down, pointing to these dueling car dealerships. Is what is where? So it's almost like a mob story, but they're used car dealerships are like the headquarters for these murderers. Promises to be a dark comedy mystery, and yeah, the cover is really the only reason that I was super interested in it.
And it was Damon Wayans.
Okay, well I'm half right. Forgive me for the Adam Sandler Bruce Willis. And then on 256, we have a new publisher called Bad Kids Press. And they've got a few new books out. One called Cheap Tricks, which I wasn't really interested in. Seems like a Western gunslinger grandma. Frankenrocker and the Jailbait Punks, which I love a good story about a fake band and whatever kind of mysteries they get into. And then Stealing Oz, #1, which I also like a good Wizard of Oz story. So I want to give this place a shot because it seems like they've got some interesting stories. So I think I'm either going to pick up the Frankenrocker book or the Stealing Oz book and try them out, see how they go. But they seem like a young and upcoming publisher that may do something funny. 274, we have from Capstone Stone Arch Books, but they're doing a series of DC superhero fairy tale mashups, and so if you've got little ones who like fairy tale stories, you get like Batman's Hansel and Gretel test, where you get Robin and Batgirl as Hansel and Gretel set in that story, and you have Aquaman and Rapunzel, where he's looking for this certain herb or something, and it comes from the hair of Rapunzel. So it's just a mashup of different things like that. Superman and Rumpelstiltskin, and the Black Canary and the Three Bad Bears. And so it's just seems like silly, but they're all kid-friendly books that if you've got a small child that likes superheroes, might be a good thing for you. Let's see. And then we've got on 281 is Past the Last Mountain, which is a pretty neat concept, essentially saying that half a century ago, we decided to take all of the dragons and trolls and fairy type people and move them into a certain area of the United States. And so they've been quarantined kind of in their own area and not allowed to come out into the rest of the world. And you have a small group of those creatures, a fawn, a dragon, and a troll, who escape and are trying to get away from the United States Army. So that seemed like a decent little concept there.
I totally missed that because, I flip to this page and all you see is Lady Death, and then I just keep flipping.
Yes.
It's just like,
it is.
Oh, there's other stuff on this page besides Lady Death. Okay.
3/4 Lady Death, and then one little sliver of an interesting little indie book. And then on 294, Fantagraphics is putting out a collection of the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. I don't know if anybody's heard of the Freak Brothers before, but they're doing a new show, which is finally getting to come out, I guess on Tubi TV, that like free thing. But the animated series is going to have Woody Harrelson, John Goodman, Pete Davidson, and Tiffany Haddish as your voice acting cast, which is what they showed on YouTube was really good for a just stupid comedy. That's the way I kind of describe that kind of comedy. Is just stupid comedy.
Are you sure Adam Sandler wasn't one of the voices?
Touche.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
No, that's good. But this collects the first story that they had done, because I guess it was a comic book series or a series of a comic book series prior to. So this is the collection of the first volume of that.
298.
Yeah.
Okay. I just something that jumped out at me. Star Wars: The Story of the Faithful Wookiee,
Yes.
Little Golden Book. So, and what caught my eye was they have the artwork for Boba Fett from the Star Wars Holiday Special from 1978.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you are a completist for the Star Wars Holiday Special, you have to pick up this book.
If nothing else, this would be the thing that made me start collecting golden books. I have no reason to collect golden books, but I was like, well, I'm gonna have to get this, and then what is that gonna lead to? I don't know what kind of dark path I'm gonna go into, guys, but I may have a shelf of golden books behind me at some point.
And 299 was that A Creator You Should Know David Mack page that you mentioned.
Oh, yep.
So there that is.
I got 343.
Yeah. I just want to mention on 306 from Humanoids, there's the Inkle Deluxe Black and White Edition. Just mentioning this because Inkle is also a title that has been picked up for some type of movie TV deal. So just recently saw news about that. So if you were somebody who has been faithful to the Inkle, check your value of some of your books you may have. They may have gone up in value.
I've never read that still. Is it? Have you read it at all?
I have not read it at all either. So a lot of these Euro books are just, they're just not for me for some reason. I've tried to read like Meta Barons, and I'm trying to think of some of the other ones I've tried to read. I couldn't get into them. So it's
Yeah.
probably I don't have sophisticated enough taste for them. So I like it a little bit, I don't know, a little bit simpler maybe, but yeah.
On 343, Scout Comics has their all ages offshoot called Scoot, and they've got a new book called Juniper, and they're treating this, which it seems like this may be the way that a lot of books will go, especially indie books, is that the first issue's coming out, it's $1.99 for a 32-page issue, and then they're going straight to a trade release after that. So there won't be a middle ground of single issues. You'll get your preview book, and then you can go get your full trade. But it's a story about a small girl who's the only human on this planet that she's on. She's got a little robot friend, and she's got to find her lost people. Another all-age book, like I said. But I like the concept of going first issue and then trade, and I was like, yeah, that seems like that's gonna be, we're gonna see that more and more, I would imagine. And that's all I've got on this side.
Okay. Well, we gotta throw in for Mike something from Tomorrow's. So let me see if I can find the Tomorrow's page here.
You're always thinking of other people, Scott.
I try to compensate for how I'm mean sometimes.
Slackers.
Yeah, no, I just for being mean sometimes. So I gotta occasionally be thoughtful to make up for being mean. So okay, so what we got here? We got Back Issue, Retro Fan, American Comic Book Chronicles, American TV Comic Books. Let's go with let's see. Do you remember if you picked any of them specifically?
I hadn't gotten to. I think my last notation was on page 99. So
all right,
yeah,
we are gonna go with Hero a Go-Go softcover from Tomorrow's. The reason why is because on the cover they have Captain Marvel, not Shazam Captain Marvel, not Captain Marvel Captain Marvel. They have the split Captain Marvel, who got a total of 4 issues before they got a cease and desist. So it's talking about the camp craze of the swinging 60s, when just about everyone, the teens of Riverdale and Ant and the Squirrel, even the president of the United States, was a superhero or a secret agent. So
I actually have a couple of those issues.
I had all 4 of the Captain Marvel
Did you?
ones. Yeah, I sold them, but I had all 4 of them. So yep.
Yeah, they're really bad, but they're kind of a novelty. So
I didn't read one of them.
Yeah.
But there's your pick this month from Tomorrow's.
That sounds good.
Go. And it's a soft cover, so they maybe have released that previously as a hardcover.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of that before, so, or maybe it's a re-release. So
there was also Tomorrow's put out a book by George Corey called Comic Book Fever, and it was a lot about, the comics in the 60s and early 70s, very much in the love, peace, hippie era. But it was really good.
And I have to mention this one now because I saw it on page 363, back issue number 134. They have apparently interviews with Paul Kupperberg, who we spoke of a lot when we did our read-through of The Vigilante. And on top of that, they also have an interview with Alex Saviuk, who we did an interview with Alex Saviuk for the podcast a while back. So he was down at Superman Celebration, so I spoke to him. And we have that on I almost said on tape. We have that in the podcast feed someplace. So check it out. I'll try to maybe get it marked or listed in the feed. So my last thing's on 431. So
all right.
Just a couple of shirts that I thought were cool. We have a Black Panther Long Live the King t-shirt, movie Black Panther, and then there is a comic version of the Mandalorian, Star Wars The Mandalorian comic t-shirt.
I might have to get that. It looks awesome. Yeah,
because it's kind of, it's almost like the like the Boba Fett from the holiday special. His colors are all off, and it's almost like that on this Mandalorian comic shirt as well. It's pretty cool. So. All right. Side 2?
Side 2.
I had nothing on side 2. There's
I'll
way
make
too much
mention of a
Funko
couple
Pop
things.
and statues for me, so.
Yeah, there's on page 13. There's a really cool Yoda from The Empire Strikes Back, half scale bust with his home on Dagobah as the stand underneath it. It looks like that's a series of statues they've had, because there's also a Luke Skywalker with an X-wing as the bottom of the stand, and then there's a stormtrooper with the hilt of the gun, and then another stormtrooper, TIE fighter pilot. But the Yoda one looks really pretty. I'm a big Yoda fan. And then the only other thing I had was on 108. There is a Jurassic Park bid to win trivia game, and I don't care much about the Jurassic Park part of it, but I thought the concept of a bid to win game, essentially it's a trivia, but you say, I'm going to bet so much that I know the answer to this, and so you win by gaining money through knowing trivia answers and kind of bidding to do that. And I thought that concept was awesome.
Is it a board game, Shad?
No, it's just like a trivia card game. Like, it's got a deck of
trivia. I mean, it's physical, so obviously because you're purchasing it. But that I would like. Well, actually, I'm the opposite. I would like it mostly because of the topic of Jurassic Park.
Okay,
that's one of my favorites.
Yeah. I was like, okay, we'll start to see this probably more applied to other genres or other franchises too. But I would definitely pick this up, especially if you're into Jurassic Park. Because
put a little money on the table, that really changes.
That's right. I'm sure you can. I'm sure they give you Monopoly type money, but you could use some real dollars on there. And
oh, heck yeah.
All right. Well, I think that about covers it, huh?
I think so.
All right. Well, Mike, do you have a book that you are looking forward to?
I can give that. I can't give you because I didn't have a chance to really go through everything for an investment book, but I can give you. I'm looking forward to the Chip Zdarsky Batman book, the Night. Yeah. That even though I am sort of really just burn out on Batman, but they keep figuring out ways to get me to read. Between that and those painted covers by Irvin Rodriguez on Detective, I'll probably get those as well. But I think that's something I'm looking forward to. Nothing else. I mean, it's kind of sad though that there's nothing else in that DC Connect that really caught my attention.
Yeah.
But it feels like DC's scaling back a little bit. So.
Yeah.
Which I have always thought that DC and Marvel are putting out too many books every month anyway. So I really shouldn't be saying that as a negative. I think that would be a positive. But it seems like what they're doing, though, is they're just switching over to all Batman as opposed to representing their entire character line, and say 30 books. Well, we don't need 25 of them to be Bat Family. Yeah. What about you, Shad? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to that Halcyon Legacy Star Wars book that's going talking about the Galactic Cruiser, Star Cruiser, and then that Frankenrocker book from that Bad Kids Press. I'm stuck on that a little bit, so I'm definitely looking forward to both of those.
Well, for me, I've got to go with Silver Surfer Rebirth. So that's just taking me back to the late 80s, Silver Surfer run with all the Ron Lim art. So I will definitely be picking that up and reading that one as well. So, all right. So Mike, you said you didn't have a money pick.
No.
So, all right, Shad, you got a money pick? Good. You're going to save me some money this month, man. I'll have to buy your pick.
I think I'm going to go with that Joe Hill's Rain book. Joe Hill's, I mean, they've just renewed that second season of Lock and Key. He's definitely someone who's always slightly in the limelight when it comes to all of that, especially with his dad being Stephen King. So of course he's already got a foot in the door, and this feels like a little bit of a pilot for whether this would work in a visual medium. They're moving it from novella to comic, and then what will happen if it goes well in comics? Well, maybe now we've got a pretty good visual of what it could look like as a series. Or something like that. So I'm going to go with that one. What about you?
I'm going to go with Apache Delivery Service by Matt Kent, 4-issue series. Now that, again, like I said before, Matt Kent's been noticed. between Berserker and Department H. He's going to have some things that are going to show up in some shape, form, or fashion. And if those are successful, then people are going to be looking for other projects of his. And this would probably be a good fit for a little horror or, something for some channel to release in October, So just to pull in some subscribers for some streaming service, whether it be Netflix or Hulu or whomever. So I know I almost wonder if Bylines and Blood couldn't be something. I think that story, with the way current events are, projecting that into future events, which is that's something that could, maybe make it onto a streaming service at some point as well. But my bigger pick is the Apache delivery service. So, and I think you got to pick up a few issues of Saga 55 for all the people who missed that it was coming back, you know. So
that's true.
Just throw that one out there as well. So. All right. Anything else, guys?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
All right. Well, Mike, you want to give out the old email address again?
Sure. It's m.atchison@90@gmail.com.
All right. And Shad, if somebody wants to reach out to you,
you can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Shad Schubert. That's SHAADSCHUBERT.
And I'm Scott Reed. You can find me at burgcomics.com, B-U-R-G. We spend a lot of time spelling, B-U-R-G comics.com. And you can find links to my eBay store, Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff. So thanks for listening. Next episode, I think we're going to talk about What If, the 5 issues of Shadecraft, and the 5 issues of the first Stray Dogs series. So we hope to be back with that within a couple of weeks. So we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, so I go to see Eternal soon. I saw it last night. You did? What do you think? I like it. It's a slow. It's like a slow burn. There's a lot of changes from the comics. I won't say anything else. Don't want to do any spoilers. But I liked it. I didn't want to get up and leave, so but like I said, it's a little slow. It almost felt more like a Justice League movie than an Eternals movie to me. Oh, okay. So and maybe you'll see that, but maybe you won't. But yeah, it could have just easily been a Justice League movie. Yeah. It might be the best Justice League movie.
Now, the Eternals were created by Jack Kirby, right?
That is correct.
Did he create them after he returned to Marvel?
Yes, after New Gods, yeah.
So they were kind of a late creation.
Yes.
By him, okay.
And that series ran for, it was either 18 or 19 issues, and then it had an annual. But it has not had the same impact on the Marvel universe that Fourth World had on the DC universe. So, where Fourth World didn't last very long whenever he was at DC, I mean, it kind of became really, really important. Eternals has not become super important, so.
Yeah, but yet they can somehow find success in a movie.
Well, we'll see.